Oh, and here's the other sort of bad news that we have for the day, and then we'll get one piece of good news. So a couple of things happened out of the Justice Department yesterday, and there was a 300-day, apparently, limit that the Department of Justice had to appoint temporary prosecutors to fill the U.S. Attorney's offices officers that were fired back in March. Remember when Preet Bharara was one of those guys who was fired? Well, there was a Preet Bharara in every state. In fact, in some states, New York is one of them, there's multiple Preet Bhararas, U.S. attorneys. I think in New York, there's 3 or 4 districts. There may be more in other states too. And by law, the Department of Justice has 300 days to fill the positions with temps. Once these temps are filled, and there were 17 were filled yesterday, Trump has 120 days to submit to the Senate his nominations for permanent candidates. One of the people who was appointed in New York was a guy named Jeffrey Berman. He will do the Southern District of New York. The Southern District of New York is an office that has a long-standing tradition of going after pretty big fish. And the guy appointed there is going to be replacing Preet Bharara, at least in the next 120 days. It's Jeffrey Berman. Now, you remember, Preet Bharara was investigating Donald Trump's for financial issues, even prior to Trump winning the election. That case was basically, I guess, pled down. They just made some agreement shortly after Preet Bharara left or was fired. The guy replacing him is a guy named Jeffrey Berman. And oddly enough, works as a partner at the Greenberg Traurig law firm, where Rudy Giuliani is also a partner. You'll recall Rudy Giuliani had heads up as to stuff coming down the pike that was going to be very problematic for Hillary Clinton. Friends in the FBI. So that's one thing to note. Another is that Jeff Sessions is, according to the AP and 2 people with knowledge of the decision, he's going to rescind the Obama-era policy that called for U.S. attorneys to hold off on pursuing any action on the federal marijuana law in states that had decriminalized it in some manner or another. So, as you know, there's a federal criminal prohibition against marijuana. But now we have 7 or is it 8 states? 8 states, I think, in Washington, D.C., have, as of January 1st, legalized pot. California, you go and you buy it like you buy, I don't know, beer, maybe even, I don't know.
Candy.
Very
tightly regulated candy.
In fact, the directive from the Obama administration, which was issued in 2013, basically said as long as pot is being kept out of the hands of children and of gangs as, being sold by gangs, that the U.S. attorneys will not pursue legal sanctions against people in these states that had legalized marijuana. That's being reversed, and nobody really knows what the implications are going to be. It's a function of each state attorney general, and these, not state attorney general, federal U.S. attorneys who are in these states. And some may want to move up the ranks. Some may get a backdoor message like, you need to do this or you're going to be fired. It's going to make for a lot of confusion, a lot of problem. And they're going to go after the distributors. they're going to try and lock up a lot of the distributors. That's what they're going to do. Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos